Hello, everybody, and happy Friday. My name is Stephen Meade with Domicile real estate for people who love houses. And this is window shopping, where we talk about cool houses, cool architecture, and things going on in Southern California. One of the things we're going to do is I'm actually going to put this in a link down below if you're watching this on YouTube, because I think it's kind of cool. There is a tour coming up of Johnny Cash's house outside of Ojai, California. Kind of just a cool, fun thing. So I'll put the link in there. Obviously, we don't have any financial interest in it. It's being put on by Atomic Ranch Magazine, which is a cool magazine if you like cool houses. Today, kind of going in that ranch motif, we're going to talk about Cliff May, and we're going to talk about a custom Cliff May home. Many people know Cliff May for a couple of things. One, he's widely regarded as the father of the ranch house. And that's meant in the true literal sense, right? Like a house that would be on a ranch, right? Like not just a house in a suburban 1970s neighborhood in Illinois. But the other thing about Cliff May is that he's also famous for a number of prefab homes that were built kind of in a panelized construction technique. And these were modern homes brought to the masses. And he built probably, I think the estimations are that about 12,000 of these homes were built. And so for any architect to have 12,000 homes built is huge. The custom homes, on the other hand, those are a lot more rare, and we don't see them come up for sale nearly as often, especially not at really reasonable prices. Some of his homes that have existed that were done for celebrities, those are all turned into mega buck, gigantic properties, right? Like some of his early homes on Coronado Island in San Diego, those are obviously not cheap. So to kind of see an interesting one come up that's really a more manageable size, it kind of bridges that gap between his more expensive custom home offerings and then the prefabricated homes or the modularized or panelized technique homes, which are in the Long Beach Ranchos, in Tustin and Anaheim. Those are obviously at a considerably lower price point. So this is kind of something that is really in between. So we're going to go ahead and pull this up. This is 42 Pony Lane. It is in Rolling Hills Estates, which is obviously in the Palos Verdes Peninsula. One of the things that I think is super cool about this house is that, like a lot of properties, it's on a really big lot. This is over 28,000 square feet of land for this home. So there is the ability to have horses on this property. We're going to get our little spotlight out here. This home has a lot of unique qualities that are unique to the custom homes, things that really Cliff May only did for these custom home properties. This one is not our listing. It is listed by Charlene O'Neill with Remax Estate Properties. But as we say, buyers, you deserve your own representation, someone who is looking out for you. If you were, for example, going through something legal where your attorney has a fiduciary obligation to you, you wouldn't hire the same lawyer as the other side. Like, that seems kind of silly. So, you deserve your own representation. If this is a home you're interested in, we would love to represent your interests as a buyer. And one of the things you notice right off the bat here in this house is that you don't see a lot from the street. This is kind of really a Cliff May trait. A lot of times his homes will be rotated to some degree, where you don't just see a ton of windows and things. These homes are meant to really be subdued and back a little bit farther. Now, once you get inside, right, you see some of the things that are familiar if you've seen a lot of Cliff May homes, right? Like you've got a vaulted ceiling, you've got exposed beams, you've got big glass. But one of the things that I think is really cool is on a lot of his custom homes, you see that board and batten siding technique, that isn't just on the outside, it actually extends to the inside of the home as well. The other thing that is interesting, and I don't know if you can see it in this picture very clearly, but this is not a traditional tongue and groove ceiling on this house. On a lot of Cliff May's custom homes, especially starting in the 1960s and later, he actually used a material that was almost kind of like grape stakes for the interior portion of the ceilings. And that gives a decidedly unique feel to these homes. It gives them very much that sort of out in the country feel that if you spend any time in Rolling Hills Estates, you'll notice that fits perfectly. There's actually some horse stables on this property as well. But probably the biggest thing that marks a difference in this home from his prefab homes is you can just see it, and I'm hoping there's a better picture. Here we go. Is you've got this skylight that actually runs over the ridge beam in this house. So this is a skylight that kind of runs down the spine of the house. It's really such a cool kind of classic Cliff May element. And you see you've got kind of this sort of casual family dining room space that we see pictured here. Notice how open the kitchen is, right? This was really kind of a revolutionary concept, in the 1960s. When this home was built. We've got a slump stone fireplace. In fact, this house actually has 2 fireplaces, which is kind of cool. You can kind of see out here, there's a little courtyard we're going to show in a little bit. Again, you've got a kitchen with an island. It's not a huge kitchen. This is an 1,850 square foot or so home. One of the things that I love about Cliff May is that this color palette, even stock, is kind of a little subdued, right? We've got chocolate brown beams. We've got kind of this off-white ceiling material, and then we've got white walls. I mean, really, and kind of a darker brown you can see for kind of some of this front door trim. Like, this was not meant to be, this has aged very well. By the way, our price point, just under $1.8 million. You can kind of, again, see this sort of built-in board and batten wall that's kind of got some storage and some things in it that separates kind of some of the living areas. Close up on this kitchen, kind of this like family dining space here. And then this is the primary bedroom. So we're going to show a picture in a second, but Cliff May homes tend to be L-shaped in nature. So when you've got a house like this is on that L, and it's the primary suite. We've got a corner of glass looking out. Because this is Rolling Hills Estates, we've got lots of trees, lots of vegetation that you get to look at, but that also forms a bit of a courtyard. Looks like there's a little bit different of a ceiling material in this part of the house. We've got some wood paneling. Again, big glass on the walls. These homes are very light and bright. This is a bit of a close-up of that corner of glass. Again, just really kind of a cool element. We've got a bathroom here, and you'll notice there's actually a little bit of a sunken shower area that's kind of cool out here, or this kind of frosted glass panel leading outside. I think we're going to be able to see that from the other side here. I think that's right here. And here we've got that L shape, so you can kind of see this house running along the L, and you've got this big courtyard space. But unlike some of Cliff May's smaller lots, like if you go in the ranchos, which are not 28,000 square foot lots, you're going to find in those homes that really there's not much beyond the courtyard. But because of this home, look, we've got a hot tub out here. You can start to get a sense of the space of this, right? This courtyard is meant as the main entertaining area, but then you've got a lot of space that exists beyond that. Here we are kind of going down a hill away from the house, and you can kind of see we've got some horse stable type properties here. Again, this is Rolling Hills Estates, so this is an equestrian property where you can keep animals here. There are places to ride, so we've actually got an animal right there that you can see. And then you'll notice these kind of exit in onto this like trail system that runs around the community. And this gives you a good idea, kind of the overhead view of this lot. Really what you see from the street is just that little hint, kind of just that tip of that iceberg. And this is, again, another overhead view that gives you kind of some ideas. The street is basically right over here in this part of the map. You've got really just a lot of land associated with this house, which is great if you have horses or would like to have other animals. These are amazing houses. And, $1.8 million for 1,858 square feet that, could use some updating, right? I think it can use some consistency and some materials and maybe kind of some sensitive and very judicious and prudent updating. That might seem like a lot of money, but to be on such a large lot in a semi-rural kind of a living arrangement is really cool. And frankly, just to own a custom Cliff May home, I mean, there's not a lot of opportunities to do that, to own a custom home by, one of the noted architects that really kind of formed this idea of Southern California and Western living. And I think that's really Cliff May's greatest contribution, is not necessarily the individual houses, which are very cool in and of themselves, but it's this notion of the Western lifestyle. And I think he was a big fan of that personally, and all of his homes really perpetuated that design and that lifestyle. Anyhow, If you like this house and you'd like to go see it, we would absolutely love to show it to you. Definitely use our expertise. We'd love to represent you as a buyer. If this is not the right house for you, if you have a cooler, unique, or architectural home to sell, we can definitely help you with that too if you're in the Southern California area. And we can recommend like-minded agents if you are not in Southern California. So definitely reach out to us as well. Have a great weekend, everybody. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And we will see you again real soon.